What if there's no point? What if we live 80 years, we do everything right, and the universe just doesn't notice? That's not a rhetorical question for me. That's something I've actually sat inside with a lot of time. My name is Santiago. I'm a Marine veteran and performance coach, and someone who's been trying to find answers since he was 26 years old, with no orders, no blueprint, and no idea what came next. I'm currently taking philosophy, and this course didn't give me that answer, but it gave me something I didn't expect: language for what I was already living. Week 1, we talked about Plato's cave. Prisoners chained to a wall, watching shadows, thinking that's reality. I didn't need to imagine that. I lived it. I lived it in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps was my cave. Not because it was bad, because it was all I knew. The structure, the mission, the identity. Those were my shadows. When it ended, I got dragged into the light before my eyes were ready. What Plato taught me is that the most disorientating thing isn't being in the cave. It's realizing you were in one. Socrates or Descartes said, doubt everything. Strip it all away until you find what cannot be doubted. So at 26, when I got medically separated, I lost my relationship, my business, over $100,000 in it, and the only identity I've ever knew, being a Marine. Everything got stripped. And what was left? Something was still there, still thinking, still pushing forward, even when it made no sense. Descartes calls that cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. I didn't have that language then, but I had the experience, and that was enough to keep going. Aristotle talked about the golden mean, virtue sitting between two extremes. What I learned is that I spent years swinging between extremes. 3 jobs, medication that numbed everything, traveling to escape, total structure, then total chaos. The mean isn't a fixed point you find once. It's something you calibrate toward consciously. Every day, 1% better. Not because you have it figured out, because you choose to keep calibrating anyway. Sartre said, existence precedes essence. No blueprint, no preset purpose. You arrive and you figure it out. And then he said something that hit me hard. Man is condemned to be free. Condemned. Not blessed, not liberated, condemned. Because with total freedom comes total responsibility. You can't blame the past. You can't blame the system. You can't blame anyone who didn't show up. Every moment you make a choice, and every choice is a declaration of what you think human beings should do. I've been making those choices my whole life. Colombia to America at 5 years old. A battalion with no standard operating procedures. A broken GPS in combat. Medical separation. New Jersey, Tulum, Medellin, no map. I'm still moving. Here's what the whole course landed on for me. We've been dealing with this for thousands of years. The meaning crisis, the feeling of being lost, the search for hope that this 80 years matters, and the more technology advances, the less humans have to feel purposeful. You've done the retreats, the medicine, the breath work, the coaches, the courses. Each one felt like an answer. Each one became another badge on a journey that still hasn't arrived anywhere. But here's what philosophy taught me. It's not that we're doing it wrong. It's that we're running an operating system in a world that was never built for us. This isn't about finding that next thing. It's about learning to move inside the life you're already living. There's this quote from one of my favorite movies, Soul in Disney, that I keep always coming back to. A little fish asks a big fish, "Where is the ocean?" The big fish says, "You're in it." The little fish says, "Nah, this is just water. What I'm looking for is the ocean." Philosophy didn't give me the ocean, but it gave me the language to recognize I was already swimming in it. So, you're not lost, you're not broken, you're not behind. You're a perfect human being without a blueprint, doing exactly what humans have always done. Figuring it out, keeping moving, building meaning out of nothing but the choices you make today. That's it. That's the whole thing.